All right. Hey guys, Brad here. We are going to dive right in and look at a bunch of exciting instruments through the lens of Elliott wave. I'm going to give you actionable levels. Let's get into the oil chart first. All right. So here is crude oil futures, and we're looking at the December contract. And really, um, in keeping it very simple, this isn't really an Elliott wave thing, but you can clearly see how we are making higher highs and we are making higher lows off of what I've labeled with a question mark. Is this the low? And that was back on yesterday, Tuesday morning, 11 a.m. And then now we have done nothing but go higher. Yeah, there was some whipsaw with all this news right in here. See those wicks? Who cares? You got to remember on news days, got to expect wild action. And that's when I zoom out. But anyway, let me give you some actionable levels. So if you are long, now it depends what you're doing. If you're swing trading like I am, I have multiple positions with an excellent basis. Doesn't always happen like this, but in this example, it is happening like that for me. My basis is down below here and down here in this region. And what I am looking for is for price to get up through this resistance, through this zone. And there is a 1618 level way up here at 71.48. Now that is about, what is that, $2.40 higher than the current price. Is it going to go there in a straight line? Of course not. Is it even going to go there? I don't know. I think it is highly likely that it does go here. The question is, in what manner is it going to go there? So if you are long like I am, if you have a great entry, my idea is to keep the stop loose. So at this moment, I have a stop on half just below this level right here at 67.89. I have a stop on half of my swing long position, and the other half is at break even, which is about 80 cents or so lower. Actually, uh, my break even stop is way down here. So I'm leaving half. If it comes all the way back down to here, half of my position comes off. I don't think that's very likely. My instinct would be to put a stop right here at 68.25. But something I've learned is that when I'm in a swing trade, the risk I'm taking, once I'm in a good entry and price has moved in my favor, the risk I am taking is with the paper gains. I will not risk any of my original capital, none at this point. That's why I'm going to take half off if it comes all the way back down to here. But my instinct wants me to put a stop right here at 68.25. But in the middle of the night, I wouldn't be surprised at all if price wants to wick down here, or even tomorrow. That could happen and stop me out. So one thing I've learned is sometimes with a swing trade only, where I instinctively want to put a stop, I don't. Because you know what? Everybody else is also putting their stop there. So what I would rather do is base it on structure. So my guesstimation using Elliott wave is that this is 5 up into here as a wave 1. This is wave 2 down here. So once you have a 1, 2, whatever you think is 1, 2, you don't want to see price come back below certainly this level of the bottom of this wave 2 right here at any time. In other words, I'm looking for it to hit this 1618 before it touches this level again. That's just me. So, but if you are just getting into a long position now or want to take a long position, another idea would be let it get above this level, 69.25. And this has served me well, but it doesn't always work. Look, I did it right here and it didn't work exactly. But here's the concept. Put a box right at what you think of as resistance and wait to see if you can get a 1-hour candle close in this box and then a back test. Now look, it did it here. Came up into this box. The other times it's only wicked at this level, but this time it came up, gave you 1-hour close. Now it did come back. It did come back, and that was a little bit stressful, but then it didn't have any momentum at all. And then it came back and made a new high. And then now it's got 3 hours in a row of making higher highs again and higher lows. So my expectation is that this is going to keep coming. This is not going to come back down below. So I think if you want a tighter stop, it's 68.25. So there's a level, 68.25, and the target is 71.48. All right. So I just gave you the levels, and the immediate resistance is 69.25. And then another area, it would be very reasonable to expect some kind of rejection up here right at this level. Just call it 70. Yeah, crude loves round numbers. A lot of instruments love round numbers. So the next resistance after this one at 69.25 is going to be 70. But then if it can break above here and back test, I think it's very likely you're going to see that. Also, it is pretty remarkable, this unbelievable gap that's on this thing. Look at this gap. Good God. I mean, that thing is just, to call it a gap is an insult to gaps. Sometimes I use a template that I've labeled gap just so. Let me turn that down a little bit. Let me turn it down. That gap is too loud, man. Oh, that's the, I already did turn it down. But let me just turn it down a little more. And this just reminds me of where the gap actually is. And I just think it's remarkable that the top of that gap is very close to the 1618. So I wouldn't be surprised if this either makes it to here and gets rejected and then comes up above to close that gap, or just comes all the way up and exceeds the 1618. That's just a guide. That's all. It's not a prediction. These are levels. I just gave them to you. All right, let's keep it moving. Hopping over to gold. Gold is very near what I'm thinking is a more of a lasting top, and it only needs a little bit more to go. Is it possible that this is the top already at the 200 fib? Yes, it is. However, to me, this looks incomplete. So I also have this purple ratio box up here, which also has really decent fibs of the larger structure for where a wave 5 would be typical. So, maybe this would be the minimum target, 28.15. 28.15, just because I have a ratio box of that same degree in purple. And I also have another ratio box of this move, which is a little bit higher. This would be just about, call it 28.32, would be just about the extreme of, if my longer term count is correct, which this area being a lasting top. I mean, when I say lasting, I mean like 3 months of wave 4 for 3. Can you imagine gold not going any higher for 3 months? I think that is possible. So we're going to know very soon. And it's also possible that it already topped, but I don't like the way this nano structure looks to me. It just looks like it needs one more shove up, but we are close. So if you are already in a long position, I think a reasonable stop is down here below. Well, honestly, 27.70 is a warning to bulls. If this price comes back down and gets below 27.70, that is a warning to bulls that this may be the top. Now, I don't think that's the top, but what do I know? If price comes back down and gets through this support and then gets through this support, man, I'm going to look at the nature of that type of move. I'm going to measure it and look at the structure of that price move, because structure to me is very important. Okay, so here's your levels. If you want a tight stop, it's going to be right here at 27.82. Keep in mind, this is the December front month contract. So 27.82 is a tight stop. 27.70 is a more realistic stop. And an immediate target would be 28.15. 28.15, and an extension of that could go another $15 up, call it 28.30. There's a definitely confluence of 3 different things right here at 28.30. But there's also confluence right here of these 3 different things. Actually 4. I've got this fib, I've got the purple ratio box, and excuse me, it is 3. And then I've got the nano structure of this move up, which also has a fib right there, the 2618 at 28.19. So these are 2 high probability targets if this is going to extend. So pick one. Don't be greedy. And I've given you the levels on gold. Let's keep it moving. Silver, let me just give you actionable levels. Ooh, this thing came down a little bit since the last time I looked at it. Again, I'm using ratio boxes and I'm using Fibonacci. So all of this action is in wave 4 territory. Okay. So at this moment, I'm viewing this low over here as the bottom of wave 4. However, it is possible. I mean, anything's possible, right? But it is still possible that if this isn't done, it can come down, but it doesn't have much more time on the clock left. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but those in the club know what these vertical timing fibs are. If, by the way, if you're in the club and you don't know what these vertical timing fibs are, ask. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, ask. I will explain it again. But to keep this video brief, I know you just want levels. So immediately bullish. This cannot come back down below 33.56. That is a good parameter if you are a scalper and you don't want to take any heat and you want to go long right here at 30 or whenever the market opens at 6 p.m., go long and put your stop below there, 33.56. If this thing keeps coming and gets past this blue line and is below 30, well, actually, I see now I have a level at 33.47. If you see this thing below 33.47 and it's past this blue line, which is tomorrow at tonight actually at 1 a.m. So that's going to be about 7 hours from now. Then it becomes less likely that we're immediately bullish if price gets past this blue line and lower than 33.47. So really what I'm saying is I'm viewing this as a 1-2, and really what you want to see is it get over here and get in on the other side of this blue line without making a new low. And then you want to see it get above the top of this wave at 34.73. If that occurs, to me, I am looking for 35.99. A lot of you guys know I have been building into a rather large position in silver. I'm calling it a swing position. I've dabbled with it. The way I short metals is take off longs and then add them back. I've done that a few times, but I don't like to do that too much, actually. I'd rather just sit there and take the heat because I'm up wildly in the December contract. So that's the parameters. You got them, right? I gave you one here, tight stop. And then you've got a breakout level. And then you've got a target. All right. Okay, let's keep it going. Nasdaq real quick. This is beautiful. I put this chart on earlier in the club. If you're in the club, you already know this chart. You've seen it. I waited. I was patient. And I shorted very small right up here on this bounce. I let it go down. I actually shorted originally over here, but I covered and I don't worry about it. Then I just waited for it to do what it's going to do. Once it bounced and then it couldn't keep coming, I actually shorted it on this second bounce over here, small size, because I was going to keep shorting it if it came up higher. And then once it started coming down with a little momentum, then I took these measurements. So for NASDAQ, the 1618 is 20,305. There is confluence down there. This was another level on the way up. And now I'm seeing that same level plus another 1618 on the way down. So I like that. If bears mean business, this is not going to come back up above this level right here. Actually, let me move this down. I'm giving you levels. If you're bearish, you do not want to see above 2623. 2623. You want to see it get below this area of support. This area was once resistance, and now this area is potentially, well, it's behaved as support 2 times, 3 times. Is it going to behave as support again? Or is price in a wave 3 and it's about to confirm that it's in a wave 3? If it can break below here, come down decently into this area, and then get a back test where it holds it, and I'll consider that an internal 1, 2, 3, 4 that doesn't come up above this 100 fib, and wave 5 of 3 should get us down here. So there's your parameters. You don't want to see above 2623, and your target ultimately is 2300. So if you went short at this moment at 20,000, when the market opens at 20,500 something, you want a reasonable place for a stop is up here, and you want to see it get below. I mean, a easier scalp would be if you do short it from here and it just keeps coming and you see it into here, you could cover. So I'm giving you an idea. Maybe you can grab 50 points, 50 ticks, whatever you want to call it, just in this distance here. You're also below this average moving average. I don't really trade moving averages, but I leave it on the Nasdaq because I think a lot of other people are trading this, and I do see price action interacting with the daily. I think that's the daily 200. Anyway, let me not make this video too long. You have your parameters. I've given you a stop level. I'm giving you a support area that if broken, the next target is the 1618. Okay. Now let's look at UJ real quick. I'm jumping over to currencies. This is a weekly chart. My question is this the top in UJ? And then we've already got a downturn. This is just a retrace, which is about to crap out, and we're going to go much, much lower. Or is it going to come up? Now, this is a weekly chart, so keep this in mind. This is already enough for a wave 5 of this entire structure. It actually measures beautifully. It tagged the 2618 almost to the penny, which is a perfectly good fib for a 5th wave. So this wave 3 really extended. So if that's the case, this top is in. I mean, it nailed it beautifully, and it got rejected massively, and then now it's retracing. Let's go down one level. UJ, it's not as clean, but this is an area that you could look for shorts. It has gotten rejected. Is this a double top up here? This is not a horrible place to attempt a short trade from this zone. And a stop would be up here, because if it wants to come up, there is a whole nother fib level up here. But the way I'm counting this is as a large 3-wave move, ABC. And that's what these yellow fibs are. So it's already extended as a C wave. It's already extended a lot. And it did create a double top, and it's getting rejected up here. So this is a reasonable place for a stop if you want to short it. And if you do short it and it keeps, and you get in the money, my idea is to hold on to it, because this is going to go much lower. And if you're going to follow me, I'm going to be updating this currency pair. So I haven't dialed in any target yet, because I'm just seeing if it's going to stop. Now, I did short it, so I'm in small size. So I'm going to stop out up here, because if my idea is that if it wants to come up higher, then the likelihood is it can come a lot higher. So I don't want to take that much heat, but I will. If it makes it up in here, I'm going to try to short it again. So we'll see if this plays out. Okay, EU. Now, this one I like more. Now, I'm only going to show you some levels here. EU, euro, dollar, currency pair. If you're in the club, you've been watching these yellow fibs, you already know about this. If you're watching this on YouTube for the first time, this is Elliott wave right here, showing you potential area of blue box for wave 4, which is a bounce for wave 4. And ideally, this terminates inside of this blue box. It's always the same. I'm always saying the same things over and over again, because when you find stuff that works, you just do it over and over again. So here on wave 4, I've got it as an A, B, C. So A waves can be 5 waves or variable, but this kind of looks like 5 waves. But then you have clearly a 3 wave, and it's very ugly. Sounds like a B wave, because B waves are also variable waves and typically ugly. Not always, but I would say more than half the time B waves are crappy looking and don't have a neat, clean structure. So that helps me realize maybe this is a B wave. Also, B waves come down and retrace at least 61%, usually more like 76 to 88%. And I can just see by eye that this came down probably close to 80%, just eyeballing it from the top of this A wave. So I'm going to call it a B wave. And then you have a very overlapping and janky looking 5-wave structure that came up into these yellow fibs. So I shorted, and I built into more shorts up here. And I even shorted this fib, and I have an open order up here. My position is getting a little bit heavier than I would like, but the stop is above 1.0900. You don't, if you're a bear like I am, and if you're counting this as a wave 4, I really don't want to see this get up above this level. So the target, so let me just say that parameter for you is 1.0900, and the target way down here, the minimum target would be right here, but it could easily extend. There's other fibs down here. But really the way this works is, yes, I have a target down here, but the way I'm going to dial it in is if this does produce, call it an initiation move lower, then I'll look for a retrace. If this does 5 waves down where it starts bouncing, I'll measure and I'll look to add to my shorts, and then I'll be able to project once this coughs up. If this projects 5 waves down and then a bounce, that will be a 1, 2, and then I'll be able to measure it. I mean, you can speculate if you want. In fact, I do this quite often, but I don't really do it publicly, but I'm just gonna do one right now just so you grab the fib projection tool and you imagine if that's the top, and let's just say this created a 5-wave structure and made it down here, but it didn't quite make a new low, and then it bounced, and let's say it retraced about 618 of that move up. I'm just eyeballing it, and then I use a template for standard fib levels. Boom, 1618. If I do it that way, is right in the middle of that ratio box. Isn't that, look at that, it hit my question mark. Now, I promise you, I did not do this before, but once you do this long enough, you can eyeball stuff, okay? So the 1618 is right at my question mark, and the 200 fib is touching this next support down. So if this wanted to make, you know, a clean 5-wave move down, which would really just be wave one of all of this would be wave one of a larger structure. But it would be something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. Okay. Now I'm not really predicting that. Okay. What I'm saying is this is the gist of the idea of how you look for a short trade when you're using Elliott wave. Nail the top if you can, but if you can't, wait for 5 down and a retrace. And we're going to examine the internal structure of these waves, is what also allows us to get higher probability entries, exits, and know where we're wrong. Like, for example, this looks like it's very much working on a 5-wave move that should be terminating right up in here based on everything I'm saying and seeing. But if it comes up directly from here and just gets above here, something else is going on, and I'll have to consider that. All right, last thing, GJ, I've been tracking this one for a while. You guys in the club, man, come on. You know I put this box there a while ago, man, like weeks, many, many weeks ago. It was not easy. This was tricky, but I have traded this structure pretty well, and I nailed the piss out of the top over here. Just, yeah, I guess I am bragging, but I'm also just demonstrating to you the efficacy of Elliott wave. And this is where the first wave of wave 4, because I on a larger structure, I have this as the first wave of wave 4, and this is a B wave bounce. So I'm expecting a C wave to come all the way deeper down into this blue box. So it is absolutely worth stalking a short swing trade, but I am not short yet. I took off my longs. If you're in the club, you know I took off my longs over here, and I don't care that this is going up without me. Fine. What I want to see is I want to see it get up to the next fib level higher, somewhere up in here, where I will put on small longs. And if it keeps coming, I will add to the longs, and I will not want to be long if it gets above this level right here. Okay. So, man, I just gave you a ton of value. I think I did. If I am, smash the like button. If you're watching me for the first time and you're seeing value here and you want to learn more, hit the subscription button, and make sure you hit this notification bell on the subscribe, right? So you'll get notified when I put out another video. Also, I do accept coffee. I do accept donations. A lot of you guys are buying me coffee. Thank you. I love that when it happens. The link is down below. Also, I talk a lot about the professor. I talk a lot about the club. Just to be clear, the club is called The Professor Trades. The professor is Armando. It's his club. It's online. The Professor Trades. He also has an app. It's wonderful to follow him on your phone through the app, or you can do it on a desktop or a laptop. He's in there dropping value all day long. He's dropping trade alerts in real time. He's using Fibonacci. So if you're an Elliott wave guy and you like Elliott wave and you understand what I'm looking at on my video, I still highly recommend the professor because of the psychological benefit of being in his club and being with a lot of people that are all clocking Fibonacci and being open and honest and transparent about what they're doing. We're sharing, we're learning, we're supporting each other. It's a very interactive type experience in his club. Armando is very active in the club. So you're going to get the psychology. You're going to get actionable levels every day. He is a scalper. I'm giving you stuff that lends itself better to swing trading because I'm looking at slightly longer time frames, like the 1 hour, the 4 hour. Armando is giving you actionable setups where you can just literally grab the gains real quick and be done. There are guys that might only come in here in the morning hours between 9 and 11, grab some pips and you're done. Maybe you have a day job. You can do this at work. You can do it on your phone. Highly recommend it. The biggest challenge is going to be your psychology, but Armando is going to help you with that big time. Look, let me ask you guys a favor. If you're in Armando's club, and you're watching this video, will you drop me a comment just supporting the idea of what I'm saying about Armando? So the new folks that are coming in that need help, maybe you're one of these people that needed help and you joined Armando's club because you needed help with the psychology. You were tired of blowing up accounts or moving your stops and getting chopped up. Then you joined the club and it suddenly improved because your psychology is better. Drop a comment. Would you do that in the comments of this video? Let me know and let everybody else know that what I'm talking about is for real. And we can get some more guys coming in. The more the merrier. And we'll all be sharing, learning, and profiting together. Cool. So I am so tempted to go back and make this educational, make it a little more educational. But you know what? I think I've given you enough value for one day. It's Wednesday. Usually I make my Wednesday video a little more educational. So I tell you what, let me just do one thing from an educational standpoint. I'm just going to show you the daily chart of gold if I can find it. Okay, here it is. I just want to show you this. Now, this box has been on my chart for a very long time, and I've only been talking about it more recently because I tend to do a lot of scalping, and I'm not in a swing trade in gold. But my goodness, this chart is a thing of beauty. So I already showed you the levels in gold. And wouldn't you know, on a daily chart that goes back an entire year, this structure is also pointing to this being the top of a major degree wave 3. And this is why I'm saying whenever this tops, and we are already in the topping area on a daily chart. So what I love about this is Elliott wave on a longer time frame is giving you parameters, and those parameters match up with what I see on the 1 hour, the 4 hour, similar ratios. Now these ratios are taken from a smaller degree Elliott wave, but guess what? There's confluence in this area between the daily chart, the 4 hour chart, and the 1 hour chart. So that kind of confluence is compelling. So my warning to you is if you are holding gold in a long swing trade, we are entering an area. Now you could wait if you have an amazing entry. We are entering an area that I'm expecting to see rejection. And if I'm right, if Elliott wave is correct, you're going to see at some point soon, you are going to see massive rejection. Now, I still think it has a few more squiggles higher to go. But if this thing makes it up into these zones that I've already told you about, look for massive rejection. If you don't get a massive rejection and this thing keeps coming, there are some other fibs up here, but it can extend, sure. It can extend, but I don't want to see this thing extend too much. If it does, something else is going on. But for the moment, Elliott wave is nailing this long-term gold chart. Anyway, that's what I got. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys. Please give me a like, smash the subscription button, buy me a coffee starting at $5 if you appreciate the value, if you're making money. I know some of you guys are because of my silver trades. I know you are. Buy me a coffee or else. I'm just kidding. I appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the club, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.